Hey, good morning. Happy Tuesday to you. Grace Simon here, New Doors Mentorship and Coaching. We do real estate, we do mentorship, we do staffing, we do everything. We open new doors and we love to connect people to people and people to places. And there's so many incredible, exciting things taking place this year that we have such great things to look forward to as we do the women's empowerment collective coming up every quarterly. We are gathering women uh, that see greater things for their communities, for their neighborhoods, for their nations, and we're going to be doing some podcasts with women that are on the ground, doing the work, putting their hands to what it is that they love to do, and they started off with a big idea that was bigger than themselves, and they just, put it to action. And they're doing some awesome things that I can't wait for you to hear them and for them to share what they are doing in their life to bring changes, to be agent changers. So that's going to be a lot of fun. The market, it's a spring market, and as weather gets nicer here in Ontario, for those of you, your weather is nice pretty much all year round. But in Canada, we are really affected by our weather system. And so what happens in the springtime is that people come alive when they haven't seen the sun for months on end, and all of a sudden we have spring and you can hear the birds chirping and the sun is coming. People come alive. Like, we're emotional beings, and our weather has so much to do with how we respond. And sales is very emotional. So, in the past, I always say that January, February is the best time to list your house on the market, because people go a little stir crazy with the cold weather and the snow, and there's not much on the market, and then they start to get the itch, and things start to pick up. This year has been different because we're still coming out of COVID, and people are in this pause and wait as interest rates are higher, and they're waiting, should we buy now or should we wait, and they're going by emotionalism, and instead of truly what is practical. Like, where is your life right now that you're needing to make some movement, where you're needing to make some changes? And the law of environment really speaks to this, that sometimes we need to make a physical change, we need to make a spiritual change, we need to, make a location change. And I love that part. With doing real estate for 18 years, I love helping people through their transitional journey. They're in a different season of the life. A lot of my clients, their kids have grown. They're off at university, or they have their careers and they're getting married. And so my clients have grandkids, and they're, thinking about, what is the next season of our lives? Like, what does that look like? What does that mean to us, where we move and where we, spend the next 10, 20 years? That is my favorite thing about doing real estate, and helping people through that journey. So, you know, we are very emotional, and we make decisions based upon our emotions. So, if we are emotional beings and we make a lot of our decisions based upon emotion, don't you think it's really important for us to guard our emotions? Our attitude, I say this often, right? How's your attitude this morning? Because your attitude is 100% your responsibility. No one should ever make you happy, mad, glad, or sad. If they have, then you have been had. Because the fact is that you really are responsible for your emotions. So even though I'm bringing you motivational mornings every morning, it really is your choice. It's your responsibility to shift your attitude and shift your emotion towards what it is that you want. John Maxwell says that everything worthwhile, good morning, guys, good morning, everything worthwhile is uphill. Everything worthwhile is uphill. And that means that there's challenges. And so what we need to really recognize is our attitude in going up the hill in these challenges. And so the title I gave you this morning is spiritual gravity. Didn't you love yesterday? For those that were able to witness the eclipse, we didn't really get to witness it because it was cloudy and overcast, and we can't control those things. Um, but it got really dark, right? It got dark as as the eclipse was taking place, things got dark. And I just like I took a moment. I was just like, I am so grateful that all the stars and the moon and the sky and everything is in perfect alignment. Like when God formed it and he put everything in its place, it rotates, it moves just how it should. And that is so awesome. How fantastic. And we have this law of gravity. Guys, stay with me in this because this is going to help you shift your state because this is so important for you to learn how important it is for you to take charge of your own attitude, your own well-being, making decisions not based upon circumstances, but based upon what it is that you want to have faith for and what you want to feed that faith. And so there is a universal law of gravity. We know this, right? Everything, our gravitational pull keeps us on ground instead of floating up in the air. We're on the ground. And that law of gravity is always at work, right? The bigger the object, the harder it's going to fall, right? If you have a light feather and it drops into the sky, it kind of flutters around down until it hits the ground. Gravity is at work. But you take, a larger mass and you drop it off the building or off a tree, it falls like with a force and hits the ground, right? We all know this as a kid that, when you're learning new sports and you fall. My daughter's taking skating, right? And I was like, you just need to fall. Don't worry about it. Get used to falling. Get used to falling. Get comfortable with falling. Well, when you're a kid and you're smaller and you're lighter, that gravitational pull isn't quite as hard as it is when, say, myself, I'm a little bit more dense than when I was younger. So that gravitational pull, oh, is a lot harder, and I fall a lot harder and not as as graciously. So, there's that physical gravity pull. But there is a spiritual gravity pull that we are at force with as well, guys. We live from three different planes of existence. We have our physical beings, we're physical beings that we're taking care of and that we can see and feel and touch, right? And then we have our intellectual minds that help us to think and to make conscious decisions and to grow and expand in every area. It helps us to move and live and exist, which is absolutely a wonderful that we need to continue to feed and grow and nurture our intellectual health. But then there's our spiritual wealth. We are spiritual beings, and there is a spiritual gravity that happens with us, right? Our spiritual gravity. It is either pulling us down, that spiritual gravity where we are just, uh, we're weighed down by the worries and the cares, and I don't know what is next? How is this going to get done? How is this possible? Right? So there's this gravitational pull that we get pulled down and the weight gets really, really heavy and we fall hard when we allow that spiritual gravity to drag us down. Then we get discouraged and we lose focus and we lose our attention to what it is that we really want for our lives. And we stop pursuing our family. We stop pursuing our relationships. We stop pursuing our financial strength. We stop pursuing the things that we want to go for, that vacation, that dream home. I don't know what it is that you're building, your kids education, but you get pulled down by the spiritual gravity of weight of fear and doubt and uncertainty, and like then you don't go in the direction that you want. That's a spiritual gravity, and you have the choice, like your attitude, to get yourself out of that and lift that spiritual gravity upward. So the spiritual gravity is different than the physical gravity. Our spiritual gravity is something that we have to look upward. We have to have access to God of the universe, who put all the moon and the stars into place and that everything rotates perfectly in its direction. And when we think about the vastness, when we think about the power, when we think about the goodness of that spiritual direction, that spiritual authority, that spiritual creation that we get to be a part of, God that made us, that's in you. And when we set our attention on the things that are above, right? So this is different than the physical gravity pull. This is the spiritual pull, and it's yours to access. In Matthew 11, it says, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden." Are you stressed out? Are you feeling a little bit weighted down? Do you have some gravitational weight that is pulling you down and filling you to stress? Well, it says that God will give us rest, but we have to look up. And he says, I want you to cast your cares upon me. And so when we think about God, we think about God and his entire universe. God, you and your entire universe are working for my good. So when you think about that, you immediately go upward. Your face immediately goes upward. Your body immediately goes upward. And you can feel your soul, you can feel your spirit rise upward. And so this is how you shift your spiritual gravity. And spiritual gravity works different than the earth. Gravitational pull, right? This takes a sense of you uplifting yourself, you moving in a direction that is joy filled, that is hopeful, that is faith filled. And you want to it takes some muscle, it takes some grit, but it's really good when you allow yourself to go there. Just before I came into my office this morning, I started off a little. I like to sing to myself. Love to sing to God. I love to sing to my family. I just love to sing all the time, whether it's good, bad, ugly, who cares? It makes me feel happy. It really shifts who I am. It like shifts my emotions. It shifts my mindset. So try it. No matter if you can sing or not, just try it. So I was coming into the office this morning, getting ready, and I was like, I got so much to do. Oh yeah, I got so much to do. It's so fun. It's so fun when I've got so much to do. So instead of it saying your rhetoric or your inward talk could be like, oh, I got so much to do. What am I going to do? How am I going to get it done? Turn it into a song. Shift your state. I like to clap my hands. Physical shifting is really important. I like to clap my hands. I got so much to do. I got so much to do. I'm so grateful that I got so much to do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I shift my physical. It seems a little weird, but try it. Your energy will shift. It'll go in the forward motion of how it gives you energy. It gives you life. And when you give energy and life and allow oxygen to flow to your brain and move your shift upward, then that's where your ideas come. That's where you're like, oh, I can do this. Of course I can do this. You start writing things down. You put systems into play. You start making calls. You want to get out there and take a walk, get some exercise, right? Do some deals, make some transactions. Everything changes when you shift your spiritual gravity upward. When you look up and say, wow, just like the eclipse, yesterday, everything is rotating, everything is moving, everything in its place as it should be on a universal plane as God's intention. God and his entire universe is working out for my good. And that was the testimony yesterday, right? We know that the eclipse happens, right? Everything is as it should be in the universe. Thank God. That's God saying, hey, I got this together. So look upwards into what things are in place, how things should be functioning, and saying, wow, just as the stars, just as the planets are in places they should be, so am I. When I look up and I get excited and I anticipate that, I know that from my life getting up to this very moment, I'm in the exact right place that I'm supposed to be. And the things that are coming to me are yes and amen, because God and his entire universe are working for my good. And as you